when I say that I grew up as an evangelical Christian being told in middle school to call myself a Zionist, which is a geopolitical stance to take that is supporting violence. A middle schooler has no business being told to take a geopolitical stance. It's like you don't even listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth.
Selama bertahun-tahun, banyak orang Kristen tumbuh dengan keyakinan bahwa mendukung Israel adalah bagian dari iman. Ajaran-ajaran yang diterima sejak kecil menghubungkan kekuatan politik modern dengan nubuat kuno, seolah-olah tidak ada ruang untuk bertanya atau menguji. Namun seiring waktu, pertanyaan-pertanyaan di hati wanita ini mulai muncul. Mengapa penindasan manusia bisa dibenarkan atas nama teologi?
I understand that the everyday person, there needs to be a lot of grace because a lot of people are just trying to survive, and they are kind of getting duped by the religious leaders, by the political leaders who are trying to use their voting power, and the fact that they are not informed enough, right? Like, I don't think Christian Zionists like myself, when I was growing up, like, had the room, to the bandwidth, the understanding, the education, the information to take a legitimate stance. Like, my point here is I was literally just being indoctrinated into something without using my own critical thinking. So it's like, that's tricky because I do recognize that people are actively getting manipulated and they don't have time to source check and fact check every single thing when they are trying to literally survive and put food on the table, right? At the same time, I do try really hard to talk about how we can empower ourselves and educate ourselves and do the work. For those of us who do spend the time to inform ourselves and educate us, that, you know, we are like, there is a responsibility to keep having these conversations and have this opportunity to talk about the dangers of something like Christian Zionism, which is, again, is like I think after all of the deconstruction I've done, which I've done for years, right? I've been deconstructing from evangelical Christianity for over a decade at this point. But it wasn't until the last couple of years, you know, ever since, I hate to say this, I hate to like reduce it to such a thing, but essentially my TikTok algorithm started telling me about October 7th, you know, and the Palestinian genocide. And I was like, what does free Palestine mean? And it's crazy because I started, you know, learning about and educating myself about the plight of the Palestinians from a very secular political point of view. The more I got into what was actually going on and how Israel is above reproach, according to mainstream United States narratives, I started to understand, like, oh, this is what I was taught about in middle school, in Bible class. There are two time periods in my life when the word Zionism or Zionist was in the forefront of the material that I was consuming or the lectures I was listening to, right? Like, so the first time that I heard about Zionism and Zionist was when I was growing up in the evangelical Christian church. When I was going to Bible class every day and church every Sunday and Wednesday, right? Like, being told to be a Zionist, literally the word Zionist, right? Like, be a Zionist, be a Zionist, be a Zionist, and all of this stuff. And so then I graduated high school, I went out into the world, I went to college, I started doing my own thing and all of this stuff. Didn't hear the word Zion, you know, totally left my mind, right? Never thought about it again. Wasn't a big deal. And then when I started understanding and, you know, learning about and educating myself about the politics of the Middle East as much as I can, I started seeing this word again, Zionism or Zionist. And I was just like, my gosh, that's like ringing such a bell. Like, I was told about this all these years ago. I can't believe it's coming back. Little did I fucking know how that word is used in such a way for the people who are raised religiously in this country to justify, again, political stances, to justify political actions. Our church regularly sang a song called "We're Marching on to Zion." Yeah, it's so sinister. There's so much about Christian Zionism that is so harmful, right? Christian Zionism treats the genocide against, the displacement, the general suffering of the Palestinians as, I don't want to say at best, but as not the worst, irrelevant, and at worst, necessary, okay? We're talking about entire communities getting dehumanized and erased in the name of biblical prophecy, in the name of the end times, whenever there is an escalation of violence, okay, the response from, and I can tell you this firsthand, the response from Christian Zionist leaders is usually one of triumph, is usually one of celebration, because to them, again, it's just another step toward the rapture. The worst result of this is the violence being done against the Palestinians. But even on the home front, I think that this really undermines democracy, because whenever you have this conflation of politics and religion, of church and state, as evangelical Christians are taught, it becomes not possible to have a normal, healthy political debate, because these evangelical Christians are viewing a geopolitical issue, an issue in the Middle East, okay, a conversation about the economics and the human rights and all of these very real subjects. All of that is getting framed in the sense of spiritual warfare for evangelical Christians, like how I was raised. I can't tell you how many times growing up I was told that we are not governed by political leaders or regimes or whatever, but that we were governed here on earth by principalities and powers of the air. That is based on a biblical scripture that I heard all of the time, and it has to do with these like demonic forces, like fallen angels, aka the Nephilim. We can get into that another time, babe. That is so much. Or demons, or Satan himself, or what the fuck ever. These demonic forces, like playing the game of humanity, and these like principalities and powers of the air that were like physically stationed over regions of the world. And that whenever there is something in the geopolitical sphere to vote about, we had to, as evangelical Christians, look at the topics from the lens of spiritual warfare. Does that make sense? So like in that sense, there is no democracy. There is no consensus. There is no healthy debate. And that is why I always talk about how very deep the beliefs of evangelical Christians go. This is why MAGA supporters, or the hardcore evangelical Christians, the hardcore religious right, they believe so deeply, because they don't just think that this is about whether or not people in the Middle East should eat, whether or not we should maybe stop doing a genocide, X, Y, or Z. This is about, oh, if I don't take this stance of righteousness, I'm going to spend an eternity in hell. This theology goes so deep, it is disgusting. I am embarrassed that I grew up in it. I am trying to talk about it. Thank you for bringing that up.